Hi, it's Gerald.Enright coming to you from my office here in Bangkok, Thailand. Today I wanted to kind of cover some topics that are often discussed on the internet and particularly of interest to the newbies out there who have never dipped their finger into real estate in Thailand. If you ever look at the comments of my videos, you'll see that there are a lot of varying ideas and what's possible and not possible in Thailand, and negative sentiment in certain cases. And I believe the root of that is just people getting their advice from the wrong place. I want to tell you that you can do this. You can do this and you can do it safely and you can do it legally and you have rights and you have security. So don't worry about all this rhetoric that you hear. Do worry that if you're not doing it right, there's a reason why we hear rumors on the internet. There's a reason why some people have not been satisfied with their experience. Stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to tell you 3 little pieces of information that you can use to make your investment very secure, and don't become a victim. Follow my steps at the end of this video. Okay, so what happened? You're in Thailand and you're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. That is to say that you're in a different country, and where I see a lot of people fall down is that they just cannot process the fact that they are not where they come from. They think that the laws are the same, they think their rights are the same, they think that everything's the same, and it's not. So first step is to understand that we're not in your home country anymore. And a lot of the assumptions that you're making can cost you costly mistakes. So let's take a look at some of these things. There are cultural differences, there are legal differences, and if you just step back and listen a little bit, you may save yourself a lot of money and a lot of headache. I have to address the elephant in the room, and that is the relationship between young Thai women and older Western men, and that this is an industry in Thailand. Understand that these ladies are professionals, and part of that profession is separating a man from his money, and it's that simple. Understand that. Understand, no matter how charming the person that you met is, that they may not be the right financial advisor for you. Understand too that Thailand is probably not as protectionist of consumers as other countries. We do have consumer protection, we do have laws. There is a Condominium Act that takes care of you as an investor in Thailand, but it is buyer beware. People are free to make their mistakes, and if you come here and make mistakes, expect to pay for them. Another thing in Thai culture is called Mai Pen Rai. It's this kind of translates to it doesn't matter, or never mind, or easy does it kind of thing. And that's fine, but when you get into transactions for properties for hundreds of thousands of US dollars or euros, 90% of the time, nothing goes wrong. It's the 10% of the time that something goes wrong, that you glossed over something, that people were not doing things properly, and you get burnt. So don't fall into the trap that people are telling you it's okay, never mind, keep going, keep doing this, it's okay, people don't care, you just pay someone. You may end up losing your shirt. Many people think I'm going to buy a home, I'm going to invest in a property, I'm going to settle down in Thailand, ignoring the immigration aspects. So be aware that just buying a home does not give you the right to stay in Thailand. You need to sort out your visas. Understand what visas are available to you. There's investors visas, there's Thailand Elite, there's retirement visas, a lot of options for you, work visas. So let's talk a little bit about the law then. There's so many people on the internet tell me you can't buy property in Thailand. It's illegal. Yes and no, you have to break down what kind of property you're talking about. So I'm specifically talking about condominiums. And under the law, there's a Condominium Act of 2008 and a section in there, I think it's 9 or 19, that specifically outlines how a foreign person can buy property in Thailand. So if you hear different, that you can't buy property, that you can only lease property, that is wrong. Okay, so you can buy property. In general, I told you kind of Thailand is not a super nanny state, so we don't have the government super worried about you. You have to look after yourself. So if you're looking for government protection and transactions and you're going to go to the courts, yes, you can go to courts. But understand it can be a lengthy process. Another very important thing to the people who are coming here, again, with relationships, new relationships, getting married to a Thai national, is to understand that the Thai divorce law, the Thai law says, much as many countries in the West, you have a community of bequests. That means whatever you get during the marriage is shared. And Thailand holds to that idea, except with fixed assets. So they say any personal property is separate. It is legally not possible for you to have fixed assets such as land property. You cannot own it yourself. And many people put it in their Thai spouse's name. Understand that the Thai law will say that's her personal property. And you will be required to sign papers to say that you make no claim to this property. So when you split up, you may lose 100%. You have no claim, no legal claim to it. So when you look at comments, when you look at people who are commenting on my vlog here, and they're going to tell you, oh, don't do it. My friend lost their shirt. The girl left with everything. Yes, they can, unless you know what you're doing. What is a real estate agent? Well, in Thailand, it's anything you want it to be. There is no certification, there is no licensing. So another mistake I see people making coming here is that we're coming under the assumption that a real estate professional is a certain level of professional, like a CPA, a doctor, a dentist, someone who's passed tests, who studied the law, who studied the rules, who is working under a group that ensures a certain level of professionalism. Anybody and their dog can call themselves an agent, and sometimes they do. So you're going to find a whole gamut of agents, from someone who doesn't have a clue to someone who's very good. Now, this is different than in the country where you're probably coming from, where all agents are working. You know, there's better ones and worse ones, but the baseline is very high. Here, the baseline can be very low. I see three classes, three operational models for agents. There's the freelance agent. This is usually an individual who's running a business themselves. They may have 20 years experience. They may be very good, or they may be very bad, and no one knows. Next up is an agency, which to me would be a small company. They're registered as an agency under the law. They run a small shop. They probably have a few agents, or they may have a huge number of agents. But again, understand this is an unregulated profession. So some agencies may be more professional than others. Others may be totally unscrupulous. I don't know which are which, and you don't know which are which. That's the trouble, picking the wrong ones. The third level that I look at is a branded agency. These are names that you'll probably recognize: ERA, Remax, Century 21, Richard Ellis. These are brands that at least have a reputation to protect. And I can't speak for the other brands. I only know our own brand, but I know that there's a certain level of training. Every agent has to pass tests on law. Every agent has to go through skills development. Every agent has to achieve a certain level of professionalism to stay in our organization. So no matter what, you will find good and bad agents, but some are better than others, and I would say that you need to think carefully. Also understand that when you're doing a transaction, there's no legal requirement to have an agent or to have a lawyer involved. It's very easy to go and transact business, especially Thai to Thai. That means if you're out there with your Thai friend, your Thai spouse, and it's all over in half an hour. There are no lawyers, no agents. It's not overly complicated to buy land. There are rules when it comes to foreigner investing. I hope that kind of gives you an overview, and I promised you at the beginning of this video that I would give you my 3 tips to invest securely and safely in Thailand, and here they come. Buy a condo, hire a lawyer, find a good agent who's associated with a major brand. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you got something out of this. Do click the like button if you liked this video, and do subscribe if you think these kind of tips about property investment in Thailand are something that you want to learn more about.